Hi everyone, I want to take you on a little behind the scenes of how we propagate some of our Sarracenia. Now, I've shown you how we divide en masse for our larger, small, and medium-sized plants, but I want to show you something that may seem a little bit more drastic. If you come in here, I'll show you a chunk of rhizome that has all these nice growth points on it. You could totally plant that and have a big extra large plant come springtime, but we want to propagate these out so that each of you can take one home sooner rather than later. Some of them, if you just gingerly pull off, will volunteer. It has a nice little mass of roots, a nice chunk of rhizome, that'll do just fine. But something like this, I don't necessarily want to tear and expose more tissue than I need to. So I'm going to cut around that little node. That's going to turn into a root. So I'm going to try my best to preserve that. There we go. Now, that may seem really severe. There's very little rhizome left on that plant, but you'd be surprised. These plants are survivors. So I have 3 large growth points, and I want to separate them. I can probably pull this one away. You can see there's very little open tissue exposed, and that's going to turn into a nice small to medium-sized plant. I have these 2 chunks. I could probably separate that as well with my hands. And there we go. That's going to turn into 2 nice growth points. And then I have this. Don't let me shock you, but I'm going to cut this in half. Why would he do this? Well, this has plenty of roots and plenty of storage. This is going to be fine. But what about this ugly mass? You might say, just throw it away. That's going to rot. That's not going to work. But this is what we would call a back rhizome. I have another example of a back rhizome here. And as you can see, there are no growth points on this. What's going to happen? Are they going to die? No. You can see that little node there. That's a pup. That's going to turn into a brand new growth point. And I wouldn't be surprised if this might shoot out 3 or 4 more growth points. Believe it or not, these back rhizomes will turn into perfectly viable plants. Most of the time, when we ship something off to you, it's a result of a single growth point, sometimes 2 or 3 if you get an extra large plant. What we do with the back rhizomes is we'll plant them out, sometimes in individual pots and sometimes in flats like this. Believe it or not, at one point, every single one of these looked just like this. Not a single growth point, and yet we have life. You have to give Sarracenia credit. All of this mass is living tissue. It has all this energy stored up. And if you look here where previous pictures and phyllodia used to be, every single one of those little rings has the possibility to produce a growth point. Sometimes it only produces 1, sometimes it produces 6 or 7. Sometimes it rots, and that's okay, because we've already separated the main growth point. This is a bonus. Don't throw these away. Next time you divide your Sarracenias, try planting some back rhizomes. Experiment.